All right, so we are recording and welcome to our team call for October 23rd. We are chatting all things booking tonight, and I'm really excited to dig into this topic. We have a lot of new faces on our team, and it's always great to just go back to some basics and get a refresher on really the core of our business. It all starts with the trunk show. So basically for any business, not just Stella and Dot, one of your, really your main goal is to get customers, right? Like to go out there and get new customers. And even as a business grows, whether it's, a really large company or a small business in your town, that's really the main goal that a business is focusing on, is how are we going to reach new customers? Of course, then you're still serving your current customers, your repeat customers, and all of that, which all comes into play. But for you to really grow and continue to expand, you always want to be seeking out new customers. And we are so lucky that with Stella and Dot, we have a built-in customer acquisition tool, which is the trunk show, and the the host style rewards, which are paid for by Stella and Dot. And I want to point that out because that's actually not the case for all companies similar to ours. There are a lot of companies out there that don't have a company driven host rewards program, and where the stylist or consultant or whatever their lingo is actually has to pay for those rewards themselves out of their own pocket. So we're really lucky that we have that. So not only are trunk shows a ton of fun, it's how you can go out and get sales, but that's really, again, your customer acquisition tool, where you're going to meet new people who are going to become your customers that shop with you again and again, who are going to be your next hostesses, and who are even going to be your stylists that join your team in the future. So we're going to go back to basics and chat through exactly how to build your trunk show pipeline and get those trunk shows on the books. We are in our busiest season of the year here in October, with that wrapping up. And then November is really our biggest month of the year. It's the biggest selling month in retail, period. So for those of you who are new, it's a really, really good time to join, because you're joining at the height of the retail season and the time that everybody's shopping for gifts. So Jess, I'll popcorn over to you so that you can chat through. We kind of have like a 3-step system of how you book trunk shows. Oh, you're muted still. There you
Sorry. Hold on one second. Let me grab my phone. I have my notes on my phone. I'm so prepared. Where's my phone?
I'll go ahead and chat through step number 1.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So step number 1 is to build a really big list of the people that you're going to offer trunk shows to. And so when you do this, the really key thing, and this is a mistake that I made when I first joined as a stylist, the mistake that I made is that I heard the training of make a big list, and we call it your who do you know list. And I heard that, and I'm making my list, and whether it was subconsciously or consciously, I'm not really sure. But it's something that I definitely realized, later than I wish that I had, was that I was brainstorming this list, and I was making it my who do I know that I think would like Stella and Dot list. And the reason why that was a mistake is because you really want to just include everybody that you know and not filter out people, because you honestly never know who's going to be interested and who's not. And of course, you can make an educated guess, and those are the people that you probably want to start with, that you think probably will be interested, probably will say yes, or probably would love the product. But one thing that really surprised me when I was getting started is that there were some people that I thought for sure would be like a shoo-in of someone who would want to host. And then when they ended up saying no for whatever reason, whether they just weren't interested or it just wasn't the right timing for them or whatever, it kind of threw me for a loop. And I was like, what the heck? I thought, for sure she would be totally interested in this. And when I realized the, kind of error of my ways, so to speak, and went back to the drawing board and added more people to my list who I honestly kind of thought were going to say no, and reached out to those people. Of course, yes, some of them weren't interested or said no, or it wasn't their thing. And that's totally fine. But I actually was surprised by some of the people who ended up saying yes too. So I lost a little bit of time when I was new not reaching out to those people right from the get-go. So I hope that that's something that you all will be able to learn from, or anyone who is a seasoned stylist who's listening to this, maybe it could give you an aha moment of someone who you perhaps have been leaving out.
And to piggyback on that, just kind of what Charlotte was mentioning before with our rewards program for our hostesses, our business, even though people are familiar with business models similar to Stella Dot, they don't know what Stella Dot is. So maybe they have a past experience with another company that either turned them off to the idea of shopping at home or social selling. Maybe they've never seen the product in person. There's tons of reasons why someone would say no or not totally understand. So think about it too that way. Make sure that you're keeping that in the back of your mind when you're making your who do you know list, because just because you think that they might, like hosting probably isn't for them, they would never do it. Maybe it's because they don't understand what it entails. They don't realize that you're going to come over, you're super cool, laid back, super fun. You're going to come over with all kinds of jewelry for her and her friends to shop, and then she's going to get free stuff for hosting a girls' night. So like, keep that in the back of your mind, because a lot of people, when I end up asking them about hosting a trunk show or a style session, they're like, mind's totally blown that that's even an option. So keep that in the back of your mind. Also piggybacking off what Charlotte said, I always keep a list on my phone, because it's crazy how many people you'll meet during the week that you like, new people you'll think of. So we're going to work through kind of like an exercise tonight where we're going to brainstorm some names and maybe do like a semi booking blitz. But just realize that this doesn't have to be like a set time. Like if you run into somebody at a coffee shop, or you meet a new teacher at school, or, you know, you meet a new mom at daycare or whatever, and you think you're like, oh my gosh, she would be such a great hostess, pop her on the list. And then when you have time to sit down and actually reach out to those potential hostesses, you already have this list working. So just kind of like a little tip there. So second, does anybody have any questions off that, just to like, since we have like a smaller group, just to kind of work through it? Okay. Well, if you guys do have questions, just like, you know, feel free to ask. So next little step is then what do you say? So you've started to kind of brainstorm your list. And then the next step is asking, which can be super stressful, and you tend to overthink it. And then all of a sudden it's been like an hour and you've rewrote text messages and emails like 100 times, and you haven't ever actually contacted anybody, which I have done before. You have to remember that this is fun. You have to remember that when you're asking someone if they want to host a style session, I wish people would come to me all the time and ask me to host style sessions for like different stuff. Like, please message me Nordstrom to host an event at my house that I don't even have to leave and do anything for. And then because I invite people, you're going to give me free stuff. Like, I wish every brand would reach out to me. So you have to remember to keep it fun. One of the things that we're going to go through is I made this bingo board, and it's like a kind of how to, oh yeah. Okay. So Charlotte's holding it up right now, and it's meant to help you brainstorm who do you know, but it's also to kind of check yourself to remember that this is fun. So like the groups of people on the bingo board, it's like a redhead, like a person that has the last name that starts with the letter S, like random stuff like that. So you like giggle a little bit. And then as you start reaching out to these people, go for bingo. Like if you're kind of trying to go for the row down the side, like maybe you're going to reach out to a baby boomer and you would have never even thought to do that. So that's what I want to just remind you guys of. This is not meant to be stressful. It's not meant to be like, oh my God, I have to do my reach outs today. It's like, I want to book another trunk show. Like I need to do 10 reach outs today. Just a tip on.
And then you get money at the end, and that's also fun.
It's a surprise. So a couple of things I want to start off with like how you're going to reach out. So you're not just going to like randomly message someone and be like, hey, do you want to host a trunk show? The idea is that you're going to warm them up first, right? So you're going to, let's say it's a customer. So you're going to follow up with them and shoot them a quick text and be like, hey, Julie, just wanted to make sure you got your set necklace. Like, here's a quick video. Make sure that you realize you could wear it 7 different ways. That's it. Just like opening the door of conversation, because most likely your customers are going to reach back out to you and be like, oh my God, the necklace is amazing. Like, Stella Dot's the coolest. Like, my piece came in 2 days. This is insane. Then that leads you to say, I'm so glad that you love the necklace. We just had a new collection come out. I would love to show you the rest in person. I think there's like XYZ earrings that would really go with your necklace or top or bag or kind of insert here. What do you think? And then most likely she's not going to know what a trunk show is, right? So that's when you can kind of come in and you can say, it's super easy, 2 hours with your girlfriends. I come to you, you literally pick up some cheese and wine on the way home from work and, you know, make it like a fun girls' night and kind of go from there. Keep it very simple. Don't go into, well, depending on the sales, you're going to get 25% of jewelry and that, like blah, 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 blah. Don't bombard her with the logistics of everything. Just kind of keep the conversation going and kind of leave it a little bit open-ended so she's constantly messaging you back. It's kind of like sidebar, reach out in the way that you're most comfortable. In all reality, and you're going to hate that I'm going to say this, the best way to reach out to potential hostesses is through the phone. So either calling or texting. Second, I would say Facebook message or any sort of like Instagram messaging or whatever. And then third is email. I get bombarded with like 50 emails a day of like garbage. And most likely your email is going to kind of get diluted and like lost in those other emails. So just kind of when you're starting to think about, you know, who you're going to reach out to for your hostesses, also kind of think about the best way that they respond. If you talk to them on text them. If you talk to them on Facebook message, do it that way. Charlotte, do you have anything to add on that point?
A question. So for someone who is just getting started and, you know, it's not a past customer that you're following up with.
Right. Yes.
So you just have your big who do you know list of people. Like, how do you break the ice there and warm them up in a way that's not like random, awkward, or sleazy?
So there's a couple of different ways. We have one of our amazing assistants, Mimi, who our home office, I just have to give snaps to them because our marketing materials are ridiculous. And all the flat lays that they do, all of the beautiful pictures that they create for us. If you have someone on your who do you know list and you're familiar with their style, reaching out to them and saying, oh my gosh, Charlotte, look at this top. Stop what you're doing and look at this top. And then just like leave it at that. And then wait for it to sink in and then go, I just became a stylist with Stella Dot. I was going through our new collection and I literally stopped dead in my tracks and thought of you immediately when I saw this. And then just kind of compliment them. And whether that be because you think they would like a piece, or you think that they love hosting a girls' night, or you think they could use some time to themselves, whatever it may be, just start it out there. Don't start off. That's like the kind of warm up aside from, you know, my example before with like the customer. You're warming them up by just opening the door of, look at this. Not like, do you want to buy this? But like, oh my gosh, I thought of you, check this out kind of thing.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. So I'm going to kick it back over to you for number 3. So after you warm it up, you made, you know, your little connections. Maybe you reached out after you warmed them up to kind of keep the door open. Then what's our next step, Charlotte?
Okay. So when you are looking to book a show, there's a couple things that I think are really helpful. And we have a great system for follow-up, but remember and put in your heart and memorize the mantra that the fortune is in the follow-up. You have to follow up with people, even if you haven't heard a response back, even if you're not sure if they're going to say yes or not. Like, you have to follow up with people because that is really where you're going to get the bookings that you want. So I think one thing too, this is kind of going back to what you were saying before, Jess, that you wish other brands would reach out to you. just remember that you are offering something. So when you're doing those really simple words to say, you're warming her up. When you go to offer the trunk show, I think that it's really key to remember you're offering her a trunk show. That language of it is really important. You're not asking her to do you a favor. You're not asking her to do a trunk show for you. You are offering to do a girls' night for her and help her get free accessories and a free shopping spree. So like, that's amazing. And it's something really cool that you get to offer other women. So embrace that and be really comfortable with that. That verbiage is also really important when you're actually doing the reach out. So you wouldn't want to reach out to someone and say like, Willie, I just started as a stylist. Will you do one of my first trunk shows for me? Like, ew, no one wants to do that. Like, no one wants to like do some like obligatory thing that sounds like, oh, I just have to do this for my friend because she just got started. Like, yuck. When you reach out really from that place of confidence of like, oh my goodness, I'm repping the Stella Dot line now. I'm obsessed with it. You're going to love absolutely everything. I would love to have you as one of my debut hostesses to help you get it for free. I have this date and this date available. What do you think? And so that's the other key piece of it. So it's the language of offering and then also offering specific dates. So before you even reach out to anyone, right after you've made that list, go through your personal calendar and figure out when you're actually available to do style sessions with people and know what those dates are. This is the Stella Dot stylist equivalent of, setting your open for business hours. Like you wouldn't open a brick and mortar store and not post what your business hours are. So in the same way, you have to know when you're available. So once you know when that is, you reach out, you're going to offer that simple offer and then the 2 dates. The reason why the 2 dates is really important is because if you just leave it open-ended for like any possible date in the book, that's like very overwhelming. I always compare it to Baskin-Robbins ice cream. So Baskin-Robbins has 32 flavors of ice cream. If you ask someone to walk into Baskin-Robbins and pick their favorite flavor, that's like overwhelming, right? Because you're like, okay, well, like I like cookie dough, but I also like mint chocolate chip. I don't know, but sometimes I'm in the mood for like cookies and cream. And it's just like too many choices. But if you ask someone, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream, chocolate or vanilla? Everybody can answer that like so quickly. So in the same way, offer 2 dates and don't like overthink like, okay, well, like I'm reaching out to Susie and I'm also reaching out to Linda. Like, should I offer them different dates? Like, no, just offer everybody the same dates until future notice that those dates are no longer open. So that just narrows down the options for her too, because she can easily look at her calendar and see, do one of those dates work? Okay, no, but she's interested. Just offer her the next 1 or 2 dates that you have open. And that's going to help keep things really streamlined. But what's probably going to happen is that you're not going to hear back from her right away. How many of you have, this can just be by a show of hands, how many of you have received a text message before and then you like were in the middle of something or you set your phone down or you just like didn't answer right away and then you forgot to answer, period? Right? We're all guilty of that. But when that happens to you, like if it's just your friend and you're reaching out and you're trying to be like, hey, do you want to get together on Friday? And you don't hear back, you probably are just like, oh, she probably just didn't get me a text. Let me like check in with her again. Okay. Of course, though, the second you reach out to her about anything Stella Dot related, what do we all automatically assume if you don't hear anything back?
She doesn't want to do a trunk show. She hates me. She thinks I'm weird. Like everything.
Yeah. Does anyone else feel that way? Like if you don't hear back right away? But what the chances are probably what actually happened is the thing that we just all raised our hand to. So this is where the follow-up piece comes in and is really, really important. It's also what professionals do. Professionals follow up. And I want to help you get paid like a professional. Does that sound good to everybody involved? Okay. So we have a great system called the 10-4. You can actually print out a 10-4 tracker in the Stella Dot Lounge. I don't use it. I just use a piece of paper, but you have to do something to track who you're reaching out to. Otherwise, you're going to forget. She's going to forget that you texted her. And then it's going to be awkward in like 6 months when you remember, like you see like your old messages and you're like, oh, I never followed through on that. That's awkward. So keep track of who you're reaching out to, and then you're going to follow up 3 times. We have a little guest speaker. She doesn't have much to say though. So you're going to follow up 1 time within 48 hours of the initial time that you reached out. What I like to do is like when I like to personally sit down and do like a bunch of reach outs at once, and then I'll schedule in a time like 2 days later to do the follow-up. This is literally a quick thing that's like, hey girl, just wanted to check in and make sure you got my text. It's literally just to bump it back up in her text message feed or Facebook, Messenger, whatever mode of communication that you use. If you left her a voicemail, hey, did you get my voicemail? A lot of times you will get a response from that, but not always. So if you still don't hear back, then a week later, touch base with her again. It can be something simple like, the new line is super cute. This necklace made me think of you. Wanted to see what your thoughts were on that style, on doing the style session. Would love to get it for you for free. My calendar is filling up fast. Then if you still don't hear anything back, what you want to do is close the loop. Take it as a no. Maybe she doesn't know how to nicely say no back to you. Maybe she's just straight up slammed and her schedule is so busy that she literally has not had a time to think about it or text you back. Who else has also been there, right? Where you're just like so busy, someone sends you like some message about something and it's just like straight over your head. Again, it's not personal. It's not that they hate you. It's not that they think a trunk show is like the dumbest idea ever. It's just like we've all been there. Sometimes life is going 150 miles per hour. So a close the loop, this is where I think this is what I think is like a really magical step, is just like, hey, Erica, it seems like you must be crazy busy right now. I'm sorry for catching you at, don't even say I'm sorry. So cut that part out. It seems like you must be crazy busy right now. I reached you at a bad time. I'll keep you in the loop next time I see something that you love. Hope that you're doing great. And that's just a really professional way to close the door for now. Let her know you're going to reach out to her again later, that you're keeping her in mind. And also, I like to think of this as like the magical, like now it's not going to be awkward when you see her text, right? Because
the worst is when you open up your text to send it to her again and you're like, hey, Erica, just wanted to check back in, and you see that the last text you sent was like this weird, like, or not weird, but just an open-ended thing that was never answered or addressed. So 100% agree with the close the loop idea.
Yeah, and it sort of lets her off the hook. And I find that a lot of times people will respond to it. And usually it is like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Like, I'm so sorry. I've just been like completely like crazed. And like, thanks so much for thinking of me. So it's just a nice way to tie everything up in like a nice little bow and let them go on their merry little way. And I think it's also a great way to like let them not feel like any type of pressure from you, and let them know like it's okay if it's not a good time right now, or even if they're not interested. So that is how you follow up. Okay. Jess, why don't you chat through just a little bit about resilience and overcoming objections?
Okay. So real talk, you are going to reach out to about 10 people. And in that 10 people, you are going to get one person that wants to host a style session. That is just the rule of numbers. We play a numbers game by being in a styling sales Stella Dot business. And so just kind of get it in your mind that the first person, amazing. If the first person you reach out to was going to be like, oh my God, I can't wait to host a style session. Yes, keep going. Use that momentum and book another one. But in all reality, for about every 10 people that you reach out to, you're going to book one trunk show. So that is 100% normal. It is fine. Sometimes you're going to reach out to 20 and everyone's going to be busy and crazy and whatever. And then you're going to book 5 with the next person. So it is not like a straight up 10-to-1 ratio. Sometimes the ebb and flow comes and goes. The best part is though, because we are about to reach our mega sales month in November, you are going to get a lot more yeses than you are no's. People are ready to shop fall is here. I just went shopping today and bought things I 100% didn't need, but you're in the mode. You're like ready to revamp your wardrobe. You're ready to get new stuff, and people, your customers, whether you already have them or your future customers, are going to want to be in that same boat too. So just kind of keep that in mind. So let's think about some objections that you might hear. So what are some objections you guys want to throw out, Eddie, that you've heard recently? Or I can go off the cuff. I can freestyle too if we just want to do that. Okay, I'm gonna
while people are thinking of any objections, just to add in with the hearing the nose thing. I know I already said this once, but just to reiterate again, like remembering that it's not personal. Like there are so many reasons why someone might not want to host a show either ever or not right now. And a lot of times a no is just a not right now. It might just be a bad timing for her. But like realizing that the no's are normal and silence is a no too. So again, if you go through all those follow-ups and you still don't hear back, like just take that as a no and move on. But know that that's just part of it. Like the stylists that you see who have, all these trunk shows, you're like, oh my gosh, like how did she book 6 trunk shows for 1 month? Like I can barely, I reached out to 6 friends and I didn't book one. And it's like, because you just didn't ask enough people yet. So know that it's normal, know that it's not personal. And I definitely see that the women who are the most successful in this business are the ones who are able to let the nose roll off their back the quickest and move on. And so knowing that that's just part of the gig, and it's not even Stella Dot. This is any business. Any business that exists will receive a lot of no's from people. It's fine. It's just not your person right now. But with that being said, sometimes a no is a no, I'm not interested, is a no, now's not a good time. But sometimes it might just be that they need a little bit more information, like Jess was saying earlier, that they don't even know how it works. So sometimes you can have a little conversation and just, check back in with them, and we'll chat through how to do that really quickly. In order to maybe overcome whatever their objection may be. So have you bumped up against any objections with people?
Also, side note on what you just said, if someone replies, no, I don't want to host a trunk show, ghosts you, whatever, as a stylist, remember, you can host your own trunk show 4 times a year. So that means if that person says no or ghosts you or whatever, maybe put them on a list to invite them to your next in-person trunk show that you do, or if they don't live in town, the online trunk show. So then they can experience what a style session is and a trunk show is. And then they're like, oh my God, I should have hosted one of these 3 months ago kind of thing. So that's and that's what I did recently. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind too. Start putting them on your invite list for your next personal show that you do. Okay, objections. Does anybody have anyone they want?
My sister, when I talked to her about it, she said she would do one online, but that she didn't feel comfortable doing one in person. And she's local to me, but because she's afraid that her friends will feel obligated to buy things even if they're not really actually interested or don't want something, that they'll feel pressure.
So one of the ways of responding to these types of objections, you use this little 3-step response. So it's feel, felt, found. So she's uncomfortable. She thinks that her friends are going to feel uncomfortable when they come to shop, that they're going to feel obligated to buy. So you can say something like, I totally feel where you're coming from. I hate it when I've gone to, events like this before where it's awkward, and I don't want to put that kind of pressure on anybody, but what I felt, so I feel, and then you say, help me out, Charlotte, I feel where you're coming from. I've been there.
It's I've felt that way too.
I felt that way too. So you kind of not.
What I would say, can I say what I would say?
Yeah.
What I would say is what I've found is that it's actually a lot more fun to have an in-person event, because then you're getting together for a girls' night versus just telling people to go shop with you, with your show. Like I think it's way more fun and less pressure to have it be in person.
And you can, and I always say
That's
that
my personal
that's
opinion.
not how I run my business. I am not in this to pressure anyone to buy stuff.
Yeah.
What I will say is your friends are going to be pissed because they're going to want everything there. So I'm going to apologize in advance that I put that pressure on them unknowingly, but we all run our business our own way, and that's not what kind of culture we have here. So yes, but I agree with what Charlotte said, because if it's an online show, the only reason they're there is to shop, you know?
What other objections are y'all getting or have you heard in the past? What about, I'm just way too busy?
Oh my gosh, aren't we all? Has anyone had that one?
Erica just raised her hand.
Back. Not even using the feel, felt, found, but how did you guys overcome that, or how did you think to respond to that?
I don't know. I mean, generally, if they're too busy now, they may not be too busy later. So, I mean, a good follow up later on.
So here's one thing that I've learned is that basically everyone thinks they're the busiest person ever in the whole wide world. So it's helpful to use the feel, felt, found. I think this is the perfect example of something of like, is it a hard no to where, because you're right, Erica, there are times and seasons where you really are too busy to add in anything extra, and planning a social event is not a priority. And we can all completely empathize with that. But they also maybe they do just need some more information because they might not know how easy hosting is. So I think a perfect reply to that would be like, oh my gosh, girl, I feel you, or exactly what Jess said. Aren't we all? I think we deserve a girls' night, don't you? If we could find a 2-hour window of time that both of our schedules align and we could get a few girlfriends together for a little time to decompress, would you be interested?
And that goes back to what we were saying before, is people don't know what a style session is. And it's not that they are a hard no, or they're saying they're too busy, because they truly are. But that's an excuse that I use. If I don't want to do something, I say, I'm too busy, I can't come. But it's because you're uneducated and you don't understand what a style session is. So what Charlotte exactly said, by giving her just a little bit of information about what it does mean to have a style session, a 2-hour time block, can you come up with that in your schedule? That takes, right away, that takes more pressure off, because now I know how long my girls' night's going to be.
Right. And that it's simple. It's not like you have to like plan a party or hire a caterer. Like you're not planning a wedding. So I think, whatever response that you get to that is your real answer. Like, so they might be like, oh yeah, we could totally look at comparing our calendars. Or they might just say like, no, I really just can't add anything to my plate. And then and you can say like, I completely like respect that. Like, let me know. It sounds like you're super, super busy. Let me know if I can help you with your holiday shopping this year. Like, would love to help you avoid a trip to the mall. All right, we're going to get bumped off in 2 minutes. So, or less than a minute, actually. Any last questions, burning thoughts?
I posted the bingo board. So if you guys, this is like our little challenge for you guys over the next day or so, take a look out. And when you have some free time, like in the morning on your coffee, or like over lunch, or just like brainstorming on your drive to and from work, it's really fun. And I'm going to race you guys because I want bingo and I need more shows on my calendar. So I'm using this bingo board. So I challenge you.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah.
What do you get again?
You get trunk shows on your calendar.
Oh, I heard you say money before.
Oh, from your sales
from your
at your
trunk
trunk
shows.
show.
I get
However, before we get kicked off, don't forget, for any stylist that you sponsor and every show that you book between now and the end of the month, for our entire Southern Charms team, you get an entry to win the Dyson Airwrap hair drying curling thing, which is a $500 hair tool.
Does that include online shows too? Online
I don't
shows?
know. Go look at the post in the Southern Charms and see what it says. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Okay.
But it's for any trunk show that you book by October 31st, but the trunk show can happen anytime between now and December 31st. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I want to win that.
Yes.
And is that supposed to be an awesome dryer or something?
Yeah.
It
And if you don't
dries
want
your
that,
hair.
They're gonna gift you guys something else, like a $500 gift card to Sephora or something. It doesn't necessarily.
But it dries and curls your hair
Oh,
at
wow.
the same time. It's supposed to be like the most amazing thing ever, apparently.
Cool. Thank
All
you.
right, you guys.